And you were live.
Aloha snack bar, everyone. It's the one, the Ole, the Senor Silverback coming to you on another edition of Rogue Money Radio. And I got the dentist into the deep, CJ, the uncanny one. He is rocking the airwaves, making sure that this broadcast comes out crystal clear. And today, it's going to be a pretty interesting day today because what we're going to be going and talking about, guys, is we're going to be talking about industry. We're going to be talking about new trends. We're going to be talking about uh, a key industry which I think will be vital if people are able to let go some of their stereotypes, if people are able to divorce some of the paradigms that they're married to and really understand that there's an opportunity here, especially as the economy comes around, as legislation is continuing to be passed in all 50 states. The opportunities are tremendous. So I have somebody here. His name is Joshua Aiken. He has one of the largest medicinal marijuana companies in the United States called Sweetleaf, and his website is sweetleafmarijuana.com, and you guys can check him out over there. And CJ, uh, uh, CJ, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep,
Oh,
absolutely.
sorry about that, man. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, we have a tremendous opportunity, and was fortunate enough for CJ and Josh to connect, so we can set up this interview real quick. But without further ado, Josh, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing great, V. Thanks for having me, bud. It's a real
Man,
pleasure.
it's a pleasure to have you on, my man. Tell us a little bit about you, man. And right now, you run a 400 employee operation. You're probably the one of the biggest in the country, if not the biggest. Um, Pretty impressive, man. How did you get your start? What inspired you? And what? And after you say that, man, I guess we could then start talking about some of the myths about cannabis, as well as the truth and the realities of what it is and how beneficial it is. Whether it's somebody smoking it or somebody's using, I don't know, cannabis oil or utilizing it,
Yeah,
there's a
absolutely.
lot of
There's
benefits
a ton
to
of
it.
different ways nowadays. So,
Exactly.
absolutely. Well, yeah. We have a great company out here. Like you said, it's grown tremendously. I mean, 7 original employees. It's actually a set of brothers. I'm in all good faith. I'm not the majority partner. My younger brother is actually the CEO,
Hmm.
and he actually won. We won a ton of awards for Cloverleaf Business Awards. That's the big ones out here, and he won Industry Executive of the Year. So I'm really proud of him. I actually run the facilities, the warehouse. So
Yeah.
I guess I have the green thumb. But yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. Huge growth both in the industry and in our company, and it's just been really really exciting to see. Real quick about me, I'm from California, out in Santa Cruz area. I'm from a little town called Los Gatos. It's actually right in between Silicon Valley and the coast there, Santa Cruz. And so it was always kind of around back then. It was always kind of accepted. Our most of our parents were California liberals that had
Hmm.
been through the 60s, and definitely, we're all familiar with it. It wasn't like growing up in the Midwest. So I came out here to Colorado to see you and just to, do the usual. I love skiing and mountain biking and all that stuff. And I guess from an early age, I saw, a lot of people who were big drinkers, never take as much advantage of that back in college. So I did partake back then, quite a bit more than I do now. Now I have kids and all that, and it's really it's funny how much you're around it. You're just not nearly as tempted to use it. So when you especially when you work in uh, production, you're I can't tell you how sick of the smell I am. So kind of funny. As much as I really do love it, it's overwhelming. So yeah, as far as the company, we have 11 retail locations. We have 8 grows, about 200,000 square feet of production facility, grow warehouses. We're out in Portland, where we have a retail and and a production facility out there. We just are in the process of building a production facility in Nevada. So we are trying to get into some different markets. right now it's certainly, each individual market is its own complete situation, own corporation. Certainly not at the point where we can link these together at all. Obviously, there'd be huge logistical problems as far as if you wanted to transport something across states that weren't legal, for instance. There's a lot of issues before there are going to be nationwide companies that really, say could be in all of the legal states. A lot of the legal markets that have passed in the last couple of years really aren't even developed yet. So really what we try to be is like the industry thought leader. That's what we're really trying to do. Not only just carry on day-to-day operations and make really good product that people want, do the branding, do the marketing, become one of the most recognized brands out here in Denver. But we're really working behind the scenes as well to change the industries, like you were talking about, just the attitude that people have toward it, some of the biases that they have from, the good old heyday of the drug war back in the 80s, or even the reefer madness of earlier generations.
Reefer madness.
Yeah, that one. It's quite something. It's quite a piece of government propaganda. So.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's doing that. He's on reefers.
Yeah, now, it's going to make you become a serial killer and murder someone.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, speaking of those myths, the joke is that, drunk drivers blow red lights, but people smoking marijuana stop at green lights. So the reality of that is they're pretty peaceful. They're not causing a lot of problems, not out there being violent or committing robberies to get high or anything like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's taken a while to get over that. So really, like I said, behind the scenes, there's a number of issues that we've had to deal with, like any industry, but then some that are kind of above and beyond what other industries, I'd say, have had to go through.
Yeah.
So, we did start really small, and that's a common story out here in Denver. There's a lot of, back in the day, it was what's called caregivers when this first started. And I think a lot of states are going to go through this same situation as their industry is built up after passing the laws. It was caregivers, which were basically, individuals, and then you were able to bring in 6 patients. So a standard red card out here, which you get, and this is kind of both before the recreational passed, and still there are 2 separate sides to the industry, the medical side and then the recreational side. So on the medical side, you still get your red card, as they called it. I don't know why it wasn't green. But that allowed you to grow 3 veg plants and 3 flowering plants, at the same time. So if you got a number of patients together, people could do either small warehouses or even at home. Back when the market started, they were able to, do basement grows or garage grows or whatever it was. And, these people started to get together, and a lot of individuals opened shops. There are like 500 individual shops out here when the market started. A lot of those are gone. A lot of other bigger players like us have come in and taken over a number of companies that weren't able to, put one side of it or another together. Whether it was a production, whether it was running a retail business, there's a number of ways to fail in this industry. I think people, unless you're just really stereotyped about the industry and you just don't know anything, I think other people, especially watching the shows like Weed Barons and, some of these shows on TV, they kind of glamorize it, make it like everyone's making millions and millions of dollars. And unfortunately, we're not quite there yet.
Right.
So, we've had to deal with a number of issues. Banking was a huge one.
Right, especially the Operation Choke Point, man, where the Odumbo administration made it next to impossible for guys like you and gun owners to...
Gun owners, I was going to say gun stores, I mean, they were even having been in business for 30 or 40 years and having to deal with the same thing. And it's not helping anyone. You're still doing cash business, but it just makes everything exponentially more dangerous. Having literally hundreds of thousands of dollars around, creates problems. So that's still in the works. We do have banks now, and everything is, a lot easier. But it's only local banks, credit unions or smaller local banks. So it would, again, nationwide, all of the Wells Fargo's and Bank of America's want nothing to do with it yet.
Yeah,
So, um,
absolutely.
problems with our industry in particular is it's filled with crazy liberals. So you know, that, obviously, since I'm a
It's a
fan of
double-edged
yours,
sword, Josh. It's a double-edged sword. And one thing, they're all nut jobs that are all triggered by Trump. And the other
right?
thing is they want to keep the industry going. They want to keep marijuana free. So it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, it really is. And, there's a number of issues about that one. But, I know for my brother, for instance, he's aware of I've done all the research that you guys talk about, and he's aware of it. He doesn't want to deal with it on a daily basis. He has the attitude, I do what I can to affect what's in front of me. I'm not going to be able to, affect the crazy mismanaged education system, and it's how it's ruining the next generation. Which I have kids, he doesn't, so it's easier for him to take that attitude, and I appreciate it because he has responsibilities that's a good attitude for being a CEO.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we've just had the usual employee problems, and I'd say it's even a little more akin to something like restaurant industry as
Hmm.
far as turnover, and just you have to be really careful about theft. I mean, the amount of surveillance we have to have, and really would want, even if the state didn't regulate it, is pretty extensive.
Right.
So always something to watch out there. Even more so when it was all cash, having that much cash around.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the state has, as usual, we
Hmm.
can only hope Trump can try to turn the tide of this, but the regulations they've put in, just seem punitive at times. For instance, we're given the argument when they want to make something that's okay in the agriculture industry, but they don't want to let us use it. They say, well, it's not okay on tobacco, but then if it's something that we want to, they know that's not okay for the agriculture industry, and they'll do things like, well, this substance is now banned, and that goes back 6 months. So anything that has any residues of that, so it's it's
Jeez.
hard to make changes going back 6 months when it's damage is done, and that kind of thing we've been able to adapt, but that's put a number of large players out of business. If you have to take down a whole warehouse of 100,000 square feet, 10-20 million dollars in product, that hurts a company of our
Hmm. Hmm.
size, as well as we do, and I'll get into this about capitalization and really what the next step is, and that's really the big problem. The big problem is, where does the industry go from here? And again, that's where we're behind the scenes trying to get things in place, whether it's getting more lobbyists and, you know, stealing them from big tobacco, as evil as that might sound. But the people who actually can get things done on a federal level, there's just not a lot of industry activists that are, in the halls of power, as it were.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
gonna. I think that's
go
gonna
ahead.
continue to grow, man. Because I mean, so far we got 7 states. I think that where marijuana is legalized for recreational use, and I think you have one, two, I think 3, 4, 5, maybe like 10 or 12 where it's, or maybe even 13 states where it's legalized for medical use. Um, I think is more and more inroads are happening, and people are saying,
Sure.
"Hey, man, people living in Colorado and Nevada and California and Oregon and Washington and Maine and Vermont, sorry, Maine and in Connecticut and Massachusetts, they're not going into reefer madness and running around killing people and doing shootings or anything like that. So,
No, not at all.
yeah, I mean nobody is, man. So I think they're gonna start realizing, hey, that let's just legalize the damn thing. I think there's a great potential here, and I think one of the reasons why that you're not seeing a faster adoption of cannabis is simply because of the pharmaceutical industry. You know,
Yeah.
I see it kind of way how Tesla. You know, I'm not a fan of Tesla cars. I can give rats for a rent about them,
Right.
but in terms of their business model, being able to sell a vehicle directly to a consumer, bypassing a quote unquote dealer network, you
Sure.
know, with all the red tape that goes along with that, is a unique model. And there's been a lot of pushback from states. So this is definitely about controlling the industry. This is definitely about, you know, a lot of pushback. But I think you guys are. I think the momentum is there with the cannabis industry, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one organization that's really had some really big inroads, in particular with this year, is the veterans, in particular with the American Legion on their national platform this year. They actually approved on their national platform when they go to DC is a petition, if you will, to actually reschedule cannabis, which is
a
probably
huge
the biggest legislation thing that could happen for the industry.
Right, because I mean, on a federal level, they're saying it has no medical use. That's basically what Schedule 1 is. And at the same time, the government actually holds a couple medical patents. They don't choose to enforce them, but so
Oh, of
yeah,
course.
absolutely. We definitely need to reach that point, and really, that's part of the kind of investability is really what we need. We have very little transparency. It's hard to even find out who owns some of these companies. Right now,
Yeah.
really, the companies that are being successful are more the peripheral or real estate trusts. They're the ones that have actually been able to take advantage. No real producers have. You know, what's funny is Canada actually came at this from a different direction, excuse me. They kind of came top down, and they put the structure in place at the top to allow Wall Street to invest. So there's a company, what is it, Canopy up there, that they have, I think 45 million in revenue. So we're quite a bit bigger, but they were valuated at 1.4 billion because they had that top-down structure in place to create a real valuation and then, bring that to an actual group of investors. Right now, the investors are it's such a small pool that they're asking for so much of the company, and there's no, access to Wall Street or real, as far as for producers or retailers to secure, to go public. So yeah, that's the next stage we want to really get to, and all the things you guys said are huge parts of that. So
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
interesting angle that you just came from in regards to the capital and the investment dollars. Obviously at this point until it's rescheduled, it's probably considered a high risk industry, right? Just due to the amount of regulations.
That's exactly it. And I mean, if nothing else, it's a simple opportunity cost of like investors have their money, and there's other industries that are much easier to invest in. With a lot more, the data only goes back a couple years. All their pro formas look like hockey sticks. Everyone's projecting huge growth, but they're going off, say, 3 months of sales or whatever. So it's hard to, build a case, when you just don't have everything in place behind it. And
Yeah.
we did a grassroots movement here that really started everything. And Canada just came at it from, later, but did it, like I said, from the top down. So it's just a smarter way to approach it that now we need to get to here to allow the industry to move forward. And I've been just talking about it as a business so far, but I mean, really, there's so much more to it, because I mean, I don't know how many of your viewers have seen some of these specials about how the medical uses really have, changed people's lives. I
Yeah.
mean, little kids that were having hundreds of seizures a day could barely go outside and go to the park without, literally almost dying. And, a simple, and some of the oils, the extracts you mentioned earlier, they're very, very low or have non-existent THC. So the psychoactive properties are very, very low. That's actually one of the new areas they're looking into of all the research, because there are so many different chemicals in marijuana that make up the different effects. But yeah,
Right.
it's just a tremendous opportunity. It would be nice if we could get pharma behind us. It's really interesting because you might think that they're just a combative enemy, but it's not completely that. There's also the angle that GW Pharma, I believe, is
Yeah.
a British company that owns the patent to marijuana. Like I'm not sure how they own it, but apparently it's very legally difficult for a number of these pharma companies to study it without getting involved legally right from the beginning with this.
Yeah.
So we're only getting help from like the universities and private groups doing any research. And that's the other area that we really are trying to fight for and really get, push forward. There is so much opportunity to help people. The painkiller industry is a $300 billion industry. I mean, marijuana right now they're estimating is 50 to 100. And honestly, in Colorado, we probably, I have the stats around here somewhere, but I think a lot of people still don't understand the black market is still a huge part. In California, I believe it's 90+% of the market still is a black market.
Yeah.
So none of this money is going to taxes. None of it's helping the communities revitalize, rebuilding neighborhoods. And that's really what we've seen out here. So if we could, move the industry forward, I think it could help a lot of places around the country that do need, more jobs like Trump's doing everywhere else, more help, especially in some of the uglier neighborhoods in the inner city were really revitalized. A couple nice new shops, and it really changes the landscape there. So.
Absolutely, man, and it's huge because the uses for cannabis is tremendous. I mean, recently they had a study done by the American Medical Association back in January, and they did a study, bro. They took about 5,000, over 5,000. I think it was like 5,100, adults, and they studied them over the course of 20 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And these were tobacco users who've lost lung function over time. And what they found out is that, utilizing cannabis smoke, okay, they were able to reverse the carcinogenic effects of tobacco, number one. And number two, they were able to increase their lung capacity. Which is like they were not expecting that. They're like, wait a minute, because you're thinking, oh my God, you're smoking this thing, it's killing you.
Right.
But no, you're actually seeing a cure. It's the weirdest, freakiest thing.
I have not seen that. That is really interesting. I did not know about
the American Medical Association. The study was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. So it's not like, Billy and Bobby's conspiracycorner.com, but the Journal of American Medical Association, January 2012 report. 5,000 adults, bro. 5,117 adults.
And the other interesting one is something your producer just mentioned, the veterans. The antidepressant qualities is another huge one. And if you're at all studied up on the subject, the pharma's answer to antidepressant is just terrifying. These will literally ruin your life. I would never go on them. I would never put anyone in my family on any kind of SSRIs. And veterans are suffering worse than anyone with depression and PTSD and everything else. And a lot of them find a ton of relief in something so simple that just really, doesn't have half the negative, either the pharmaceutical or, drinking or smoking cigarettes or whatever other, self-medicating answers that some of these guys have. So, that's a huge one. And people nowadays, unfortunately, depression is becoming such a huge issue that, that alone is another whole area that we really think could help.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think CJ, you talked about like vets. It's helping vets with PTSD. That's a known fact. It's helping people, with Crohn's.
Absolutely.
Helping people. People like, people who have like irritable bowel. It's helping them. It's helping people who have Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's. It seems like a lot of the neurocognitive diseases that are out there, as well as digestive. And most people don't realize this, but there's a very strong link between digestive disorders and neurocognitive functioning. It's very important. Look at any autistic kid. They're affected autistically and neurologically, and you look at.
I've heard they could actually cure some autism or at least remediate it with working on the gut. So I guess Hippocrates said the whole body and the whole immune system starts and ends with the gut. So there you go.
Absolutely correct, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
correct. So, I mean, this is why, I mean, man, it's, I look at, the cannabis industry, man, it's like, it's from an economic standpoint, the growth, everything is there, the potential's there, the momentum is there. And dude, it's like Bitcoin. It's an
Yeah,
inevitability. You could talk all the trash you want about it. You could talk all this. You could say it's fake. It's not real. This, just
sure.
how you cannot escape the fact that Bitcoin is here to stay. Same thing with cannabis.
Yeah, well, just as there's a fundamental flaw in the, fiat currency system, there's a fundamental flaw in the modern medical industrial establishment that really doesn't have our best interest in mind. And Bitcoin, is a money of the people, just like cannabis can be a part of a holistic health of the people, if you will. So
1,000%. And you don't have
Yeah.
to smoke
Yep.
it. You don't have to smoke it.
no,
There's
not
so
at
many
all.
different
In
ways. Yeah.
fact, a lot of people don't, especially those that are using it for more serious, for treating, advanced cancer pain, for, if you're already immunocompromised. There's a lot of safer ways to take it, and a lot of more effective ways to, nowadays they have so many different advanced genetic developments.
Yeah.
That there really are different types of strains with much different properties. Some are much better for sleeping, some are much better for depression, some are much better for pain management. And, that's another issue. I mean, pain management, anytime you can, get somebody off opiates, which are just like the hugest problem right now out there, then you can really help them, deal with pain in a way that's not going to ruin their lives or worse. So
Yeah, here's a crazy point too, is the fact that, here we have a natural plant, right? But however, pharmaceutical companies are interested in producing a synthetic cannabis that actually creates more harm.
sure.
It's synthetic, and the FDA is approving it, that has a lot harsher side effects than the
Right.
natural
And it doesn't work as well from what I've heard. I honestly don't have any experience directly, but I did know somebody who was on it, and they said it really just did nothing for them. And they're finding more and more that it's the, combination of a lot of these different chemicals, not just the THC, for instance, that's, giving you
Right. And
Yeah.
and that's
properties.
you nailed it, bro. And that's the reason why allopathic medicine will fail time and time and time again, because
Mother Nature.
these idiots, bro, these guys cannot get out of their paradigm. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is this,
Well,
right?
it's not profitable for them to get out of that paradigm. So,
Correct. And the problem with allopathic medicine in general, just the philosophy of allopathic medicine, right? Like, for instance, like, guys like us who think very holistically about things, right? Very, very holistically, we understand that a specific plant or an herb works because there's a synergy of components that are harmonized in order
right.
to work efficaciously on the person, okay, within the system.
Sure.
That's not the way allopathic medicine works. Allopathic medicine is like,
I
well,
do
what
one
is
thing.
that one thing? And let me just take that one thing and then jack it up to level 11
Yeah.
while ignoring all the other supportive, harmonic, synergistic components to it. Just ignore all that. Take that one
That's
ingredient
right.
and let's see if that works. And it doesn't. And it's a blowback, and you're getting
Yeah,
side
you
effects.
get blowback in other areas of your health, and then you need
Bingo.
more pharma to deal with that. We know the story there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I definitely think it's part, and from that perspective, it's just part of the I think a growing. Healthcare costs are getting just ridiculous. It's
Mhm.
just, I mean, we can't go forward like this. People are going to have to start preventing diseases and trying to deal with them before they happen, rather than just letting everyone get sick just so your market can do better. Your vaccine or antidepressant or painkiller market can do better. And I don't know, it depends how deep you want to get into the conspiracies on that one, but
Go
it
for
looks
it,
like
bro. This is the place to do it.
they've just done some really evil stuff to make us sick, and it's they don't want to give us the easy solutions to help us just live a healthy life, and not have to be good paying customers for them.
Yeah.
And some of the things they put, I mean, I still don't know what they're putting in some of these vaccines. They say, thimerosal and squalene and everything else, formaldehyde and MSG, but you don't know what nano's in there or anything else. So it just scares me. I don't know if you remember the SV40 simian virus that was in thousands of polio shots. I think it was a couple 100,000 cases of cancer. the government directly gave people. I mean, that stuff, I had no reason to think it stopped.
Absolutely, man.
Got better. So now they can give you slow acting diabetes that kills you over 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. And that in combination with the high fructose corn syrup, which is in pretty much everything, and sugar, which is a hepatotaxin to begin with, and everything.
Yeah, I still like sugar, but I won't even do a GMO corn syrup filled with heavy metals. I mean, it's terrible. My mom owned a gym growing up. One of those pretty funny. One of those jazzers. She kind of popularized the jazzercise thing back in the early 80s.
I remember jazzercise.
I'd go in and there'd be like 50 gorgeous women wearing their little leg warmers and guitar. It's pretty funny. But my point is, I grew up around all this health stuff, and I've always been into like all the latest supplements and, you know, a bodybuilder and all the, you know, I have a diet that most people would find hard to believe. And just I've always, you know, lived like that. I actually had cancer when I was a kid. So that was the other thing that kind of turned me on to this whole lifestyle from a very, when I was 13. So I kind of, and I was a happy kid. It didn't even affect me. I was one of the ones that got through it real easy and just kept going. But it really did change my view of nutrition and, you know, just leading a healthy lifestyle. And I think, like I said, I was always kind of a smoker back in the day versus somebody who would, you know, be drinking all the time, because I could still go out and go skiing and go hiking and all that good stuff. So, you know, I once heard that if it wasn't for, you know, alcohol and cigarettes and everything else we use, that we'd be beating our heads against a rock to get a little break from reality, if you will. So humans are going to do something. You definitely could do a lot worse than cannabis.
Right, and you know the whole thing is, if you look at alcoholism, and most people don't realize this. Hey, CJ, who's the doctor we had on before that talked about endocannabinoids?
Dr. Dustin Sikula.
Dr. Sikula was on. This guy's like an expert in cannabis, speaks all over the world, and you know, he talks about the endocannabinoid system, that our friggin' bodies are set up perfectly, like lock and key to deal with the cannabis.
Right.
Yeah, the cannabinoids, which are the active ingredients within the plant. Right. And you know, when you have disorders like alcoholism, that alcoholism occurs because it involves disruptions within the endocannabinoid system. Okay, and because it does that, there are researchers and doctors, like researchers have what they've done is people who are severely alcoholic, they've actually given them, you know, cannabis either as an extract or you know, smoking it or whatnot. They were able to get off the alcoholism because the endocannabinoid system starts to become it starts becoming rebuilt and rejuvenated. So it helps people in that regard, man. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It really is. And the more you study, the more avenues open up. And that's why we need more studying of it. It's just waiting. It's right now it's tough for people to see doing those studies as you know, being financially worth it. So we have to change that, and that's a societal change. You know, we have to start putting money and forcing money into, you know, an economy that'll build health and build prosperity. Right now, it's kind of a negative return economy, and we need to change that.
Yeah,
it just always amazes me when you hear that statement that, you know, we're not going to legalize because there's not enough studies. Well, universities, they can't study it right now as you know, with the way that cannabis is scheduled. So, and if you do get a grant or whatever to do a study, there's only like one place that one university you can even purchase the cannabis from. I believe it's in the South somewhere, but it's the only university I believe that's authorized to grow cannabis right now.
Yeah, I haven't studied that, but I wouldn't doubt it that they make it that difficult.
Oh man, totally. But you know, if the university wanted to study the glorious effects of a statin like Lipitor, Zocor, and Crestor, hey, by all means, go ahead. And then, but make sure you tell them that, you know, it's good for promoting heart health. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you got people dropping dead from heart attacks, but they have a low cholesterol.
Right, absolutely. And I like the other one is all the blood pressure medication. You know, when your body has high blood pressure, it needs the high blood pressure in order to get enough oxygen everywhere. So, you know, this blood pressure medication is taking your blood pressure down, and your brain is getting starved with oxygen, and that's leading to all kinds of Alzheimer's, and, you know, brain problems along with the you know, stratospheric aerosol injection, all the other pollutants they're doing out there. So yeah, it's just it's bad.
Oh, it's horrible, man. Especially the
Hey,
fact that we don't exactly know what is the actual cause of high blood pressure. We don't even know. That's the
Yeah.
thing that people don't realize. It's doctors, scientists. We don't freaking know. We don't know why renin is secreted by the kidneys, at a specific point to jack up your blood pressure. Don't freaking really know.
Yeah. I think we just understand a lot less than we'd like to think we do. Like
Correct.
the old saying, the smarter you are, the more you understand you don't know. So I think we're getting there. I mean, things are changing right now. Not to get too far off topic, but everything with Trump and just what's going on. I mean, people are really waking up to kind of all of this.
Yeah.
And this is one of those industries. Two things. It's one of those industries that's just set for natural growth right now because of the nature of what it is. But also just Trump in general. I just we're fighting against. Here's my concern. Do you and let me just ask you, do you think he's going to be able to save this current system? I mean, as far as I see, it's just he can band-aid it, but is he going to be able to actually make it work again, or is it too far gone and we just need to move on to a system without all the debt? In which case, at least we're in an industry that supposedly does well during economic downturns. They say tobacco and alcohol always go up.
Yeah.
So, but it's also, that's going to be a huge problem with doing everything we're talking about not only us growing and the industry growing, but the health in general and research going into these areas that'll really help people. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about
what I think is this, man? I think this system is so damn far gone. It's so damn corrupt. It's got to stop. The market rigging has gone to the point where it's just annoying now. I mean,
I know.
I'm sick of it, man. I'm so sick of it.
At least you can watch the news a little bit again. It's not quite as annoying. I mean,
right.
At least you see some positive changes.
Oh, it definitely is. But I think that's why he's like rabidly and rapidly trying to reindustrialize the United States, because he knows he's got this system's got to get pulled. The market rigging's got to stop. He's got to pull it.
Whether the money changes or not, that's something we have to do in order to get back to where we need to be.
Yeah, we got to crash this thing. This thing needs to be crashed in a controlled fashion, and we need to restructure this debt, get rid of it, start over again, and come out with a new system that's more better and more equitable. There's a lot of talks, a lot of murmurings on some sort of a metals-backed currency. So we'll see what happens if we return to the classical gold standard from 1870 to 1912, which was the greatest economic development in human history. I mean, if people study that time period, I mean, that is an unmatched economic period in human history, unmatched. And that's the pure classical gold standard, not the gold standard that occurred right after that. That was that was the barbarous relic that Keynes was talking about, was the gold standard from 1824 onwards. Okay, that was the barbarous relic, not the 1870 classical gold standard, as Keynes is so often misquoted. But yeah, man, we have to stop the rigging, the lies, everything fake's got to go, and all the the lies about health has to go as well. So people got to see, like, the benefits of something like cannabis. I mean, dude, the
reason, all the same veil that's being lifted, I think.
Yeah, it is because there's studies being done in other countries, like in Israel. In Israel, they found out that Crohn's patients, like 99%, 10 out of 11 patients, bro, who had complete remission of Crohn's disease by utilizing cannabis. Complete remission.
It has tremendous effects on the digestive system and appetite in general for those that are not able to eat. As we all know, the old jokes go. But from a medical perspective, that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely correct, man. Absolutely correct. Where do you see the how can, like, somebody or somebody who's thinking about, let's say this, I get emails all the time, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm not working anymore. I'm sick of working for corporate America. I'm in, I'm thinking about getting into the cannabis business. Like, what should I do? Like, what do you suggest for people to get started?
A couple answers to that, and I mean, it kind of depends on what what perspective you're coming into the industry from. I mean, are you somebody with a lot of money looking to invest, or are you somebody who's just looking for a starting job for a career? But bottom line is that, like I mentioned earlier, real briefly, there's going to be a real repetition of this growth of each individual market. So as each state legalizes and then, starts to form its licensing structure, and, producers start to come in and actually populate the area, there's good markets and there's bad markets so far. We call them live markets that actually make sense as far as the number of licenses the states are going to issue versus the number of customers. So there's definitely opportunity in all of the new markets. For Denver, it's very, it's already pretty well established. But as each market comes open around the country, there's going to be a tremendous, opportunity in each area. So what happens is, as each market opens, prices, and I'm sure you've heard this in New York City, like prices in New York City are still like $5,000 a pound. So when we started out here, it was $4,400, and then $35, and then $3 and $25, etc. Right now, it's about $1,500 a pound. So as markets open up, the prices are still much higher. A lot of markets are going to allow smaller players to get in. You're going to be able to put yourself in a more advantageous position in a younger market. So that's certainly one answer. Really, we all need to fight to get some of these companies able to get their company to investors to invest in, whether it be through the stock market or just a better private investment situation. But as far as, for people who are just coming for a career or for a job, it is a lot of fun. People do have a really good attitude in this industry. Everyone's always hiring. There's always a ton of opportunity. Denver, I can't tell you the impact it's had on the market out here, the changes in people's attitudes. So many people I talked to were against it. I'm a conservative guy. I go to church. Some of the people I spoke with at church were really kind of, you could see when I told them what I did, that, there's some real reservations. That's becoming less and less so because people are seeing the huge impact they're having on the job market, on, like I said, the revitalization of some of these down and out neighborhoods, of the school taxes. The amount of money we're giving to schools here are making Colorado schools finally, not worried about financial concerns is their number one issue. They're getting a ton of money. I think actually they had to change we maxed out the amount that under the law we were able to give to the schools, and they had to literally give back millions of dollars, tens of millions, as I recall. So, there's just tremendous benefit to the neighborhood, and a lot of opportunities for anyone from somebody starting out to somebody who's retired and looking at a second, second career to spend their investment.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with that, bro. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for as many people to embrace entrepreneurship and becoming an entrepreneur and taking the bull by the horns and making your own future, making your own way in this world. I think it's the greatest thing. It brings out the best in you. There's
really
nothing in the world like, there's nothing in the world like owning your own business. There really isn't, and
that's what made our country great. And it's sad that there's so many industries that have become, locked up by all the regulation, by the big players, the Walmarts of the world coming in and really, just making it so that small businessmen in America have no chance of working for themselves. And this is one industry that really still kind of allows that American dream.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting, and one of the facets I always take a look at is that when you think of the cannabis industry, people think just the plant itself. But Josh, could you share a little bit around, obviously you probably had a lot of either, building, probably physical security, real estate. I mean, the cannabis industry touches a lot of other auxiliary industries and helps them.
Not to mention hemp.
Yeah. So can you touch base on that? Yeah.
I agree. You break it up a little.
Okay, am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, just in terms of when you think of it, I was just looking at a report here that for 2017, that cannabis stocks are, in terms of companies that touch the cannabis industry, whether it's agriculture, devices used, physical security,
There's some software, there's some real estate trust, there's some consultants that work with various companies. But the thing with that is that we're really trying to lead with our best foot forward, because a few of these, if I could find their name, actually, I know the big guys out in California are facing a big civil lawsuit right now because, basically their books were cooked, and, there were no audited financials. So, like I said, the transparency is just really poor. And, there are some other people. I don't know if you've heard Peter Thiel has a company that he started. Sean Parker, has a company he started trying to, get into the industry and get a foot in. I definitely, there's the Sheldon Adelsons on the other side of that, always trying to stop that. But there's just so much change right now going on, and it's really interesting. We're all looking forward to seeing what's going to happen over the next 5 to 10 years. If we can to lead it in the right direction, that it can not only be an amazing company for us and something we can really be proud of, but something that could really help America, help American economy, help people with their health. There's so many things to be proud of. With my strange career, like a lot of other people, it's the last place I thought I'd end up working. But, I really enjoy it. And it's something that I'm really happy I was in the right place at the right time to get where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And how big is your facility, by the way?
We have a number of different facilities. Are you talking about like the grow side?
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I thought you had just like one massive warehouse.
We do, but honestly, that's the most difficult way to go about it. We've learned that the best way to go about it is several small facilities. That way you can contain and really, if anything goes wrong, quarantine. You can really, make each individual room and each individual facility, it's a lot easier to take care of without the, massive open number. I mean, we do have one facility. I think it's about 100,000 square feet, and 10-20,000 plants to deal with at once is just kind of an overwhelming project. But hey, we make it work. That's why we're amongst the top. They say we're number one in the industry. It's hard to say. Like I mentioned, the transparency is really poor, but as of the last industry benchmarks, they said that we are the number one, and I used the line that, well, we're the number one out here in Denver, so I guess that makes us number one in the whole world. So
yeah, I agree with that, man. I mean, absolutely. You guys are
the logic's sound. I don't know how true it is, but
yeah, absolutely. So Josh, give out your website, how people could follow you guys, your work, your social media, and all the other good stuff, man.
Sweetleaf.com is our website, and
beautiful website, by the way, man. I like it. I love the logo.
Yeah, our whole style is a little different, than a little less muted. We're trying to go for that young vibe, with the colors and the designs. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So if you're out here in Denver, please come and visit us. Plenty of our stores are rec, and you can just stop in and come say hi. I actually am not on social media. I don't even visit Facebook anymore. I'm one of those those retro guys that actually does not live online. So
nice.
So just come visit me out here. Come say hey.
Dude, totally, bro. I'm also checking out the apparel. You guys got some good apparel here. It looks pretty cool, bro.
I'd love to send you some.
Yo, I'm game. All right, cool.
You got it. I'll send you guys both
some Sweet Leaf t-shirts, bro. Nice.
There we go. Absolutely.
I'm
proud to wear it.
Yeah, you guys have a blog here. You have a whole section on knowledge and education. Awesome website,
man. I like it a lot. Just to mention, we're doing a number of things in the community. We have concerts. We have big eating events. We have actually an organic garden that we're doing downtown here in Denver, you know, kind of a rundown neighborhood, trying to get people from the community involved growing organic vegetables. So, you know, we're doing some cool things. It's just really, really exciting. And we really do try, you know, we did a huge food drive last year for Christmas. So we're really trying to be a good part of the community, build up our relation, you know, with the other businesses and the community leaders out here. And, you know, it's been going real well. Denver's a really, I think it's got a good blend of kind of, you know, open, liberal, real liberal, not these insane trigger
crazy.
crazies.
Yeah.
But,
snowflakes.
yeah, I mean,
You
it's
don't have
got
the
a real
snowflakes out there.
conservative side and a real open liberal side. So it is really just, it was the right place to be the catalyst for this to happen. I mean, California is great, but I don't know if you're familiar out there. It's a not-for-profit model, and it's just made it a real mess. Just trying, you know, it's obviously a profit-driven industry, and to try to make it into that is just, like I said, is 93% is still on the black market. So they're actually changing this year, looking, you know, they worked with leaders in our industry out here to change their system more to ours. And, you know, we just think that that'll be a huge one. If we can get California on board and really get them to help be the industry leader as far as, you know, getting the industry specialists and the lobbyists we need to take it to the next level, that'll be huge. So
awesome, dude. Good stuff, man. And wait for you boys to start franchising. I'll definitely open up one here in New York.
We'll get you. You'll be our partner out there in the Big Apple.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm game. Dude, thank you so much, Joshua Aiken. Thank you so much from sweetleafmarijuana.com. Check out their products. Check out their stuff. And if you're in Colorado, you got to go stop at their shops. Get yourself some gear. They always got some specials going. I'm looking at Munchie Monday, Twisted Tuesdays, Wednesday Happy Hour. They got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool events. These are the guys you want to side with and get on the forefront of this revolution, man. Absolutely. CJ, closing comments, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks a lot, Josh, for being with us. And yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So yeah, and then also we have a new show that we're going to be releasing Saturday night at midnight called Generations Collide. And it's just a collaboration of some Generation Xers talking with some millennials about a lot of different social things and everything. So it's a lot of fun. It's a fun show. It's going to be a break, a little bit different from some of our traditional stuff, but we felt it was necessary to do that to help understand and obviously to try to maybe even help reach a younger audience.
Absolutely. And as in all things, yeah, totally, bro. It's all about empowerment. It's all about leveraging. It's all about being entrepreneurial. It's all about, you know.
We really need to guide these millennials because they could go either way right now and they have a lot of passion, but they're just getting such bad info and they're getting led down the wrong path. So,
yep, I agree totally. Absolutely. And guys, again, subscribe to the channel. Check us out on roguemoney.net. And again, go to sweetleafmarijuana.com. Sweetleafmarijuana.com. Thank you all for listening. Take it away, CJ.